Good afternoon, everybody. On this Friday, November 7th, 2025, I got all of your stories for your rush hour ride home, and we're going to have a party today. Lots to get into. Let's mail it in together. You have to. There's 7 weeks left in 2025. You didn't accomplish everything you set out to do this year. Time flies, but hey, you're still ticking. I am, and that is enough to be grateful for. And we're not doing nearly as bad as some of the people I'm about to cover. This episode, we're going to talk about Mark Sanchez, fired by Fox News. Also an update after the abysmal podcast by the Vile Files. Boy, they got some angry emails from you guys. We'll talk about that and more on Justin Baldoni as Heath responds in a scorched earth letter to the judge after Blake Lively wants to see more of his wife's home birth. Odd world. Back end of the episode, we'll talk Candace Owens. She has an influencer beef with another podcaster. You love to say, I don't like being in podcast beefs. I love talking about other people in podcast beefs. Isn't that what the water cooler is all about? And then, of course, we'll talk about some more serious things like Snap and Ice. Very, very serious stuff, but we got to round up all of these stories coming at you right now on The Rush. So I'm going to get into this Baldoni stuff in a second, but let's talk about this. Mark Sanchez let go by Fox after the stabbing incident. We don't have any other updates regarding his trial and the charges and all of that, but when asked, a Fox Sports spokesperson says, we can confirm that Mark Sanchez is no longer with the network. He literally had quite possibly the easiest job in the world. Now, don't get me wrong, like being a play-by-play guy for the NFL is challenging, but he was really good at it because he was a former quarterback. He could read defenses. He had already done a lifetime's worth of work where he could just mail it in, get paid to watch football. Now, he might have some other issues regarding what's going on with his brain. I have no idea. We'll talk about another NFL player coming up with some similar issues. But how about this beef? We covered earlier this week, Millie Bobby Brown apparently had a complaint she filed against her Stranger Things co-star David Harbour, but apparently the boat is back in the harbor. That's a stupid metaphor. That made no sense. We're going to keep it in though. Yeah. So they were seen at the premiere looking all cheeky. And again, it was mentioned that there was no sexual complaints, which again, I don't know why, the complaints were just that she said he was bullying her. Now, my question is, were the complaints true or not? It could have been. We've all had fights with coworkers. Obviously, there's a big age difference there. Whether she was bullied or not, it looks as though they made amends. So here they are, I guess at the red carpet. I don't really know.
Listen, we saw that reunion hug outside. What do you two mean to each other? That was beautiful.
He's like my dad. Yeah, I'm so connected to him for life. We're so lucky to have each other.
What will you miss the most about this whole entire series, man?
The people. I love the people. They are my family. So it's going to be, it's been really hard to think about life and work without them.
So there it is. She sounds hey, look, he's like her father. So even maybe she did file something. Maybe he was bullying her. Maybe that all happened, but they were able to work it out. And boy, what makes you feel older than seeing Millie Bobby Brown as an adult? You know what I mean? I feel like it was yesterday that Stranger Things came out and she was a child, a shaved, their head shaved or whatever. And now she's, 21. She's married to John Bon Jovi's kid or something. Who knows, right? What's going on out there? All right, so let's move it on. Here, okay, I'm going to get into this Baldoni story. This is, by the way, and this isn't me, this is no shade at all towards this podcast. They ask really good questions. It actually is good to share the clip I'm about to share with you on the heels of the Millie Bobby Brown HR complaint, right? Millie Bobby Brown allegedly had that issue with her coworker. And what do you do when you're working with somebody and you have an issue? Well, that's what human resources is all about, right? So this podcast actually dives into Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni, asks a lot of questions I have the answers to. Have a listen.
Like, he was her director. Mm-hmm. He was her co-star in a role that you're playing someone's abuser. Mm-hmm. And he was her producer, right? So in 3 different power positions. Yeah. And now, on the flip side, she has a much larger celebrity name. She's coming from, old Hollywood. So there is that element to it. But should someone even be uncomfortable in a, maybe even with an intimacy coordinator there, something that I don't know how you would pick apart as an employment lawyer is where do you turn? It's not the same as a traditional workplace. You don't really have are in that same.
Well, she's right that Baldoni versus Blake Lively, it's not a traditional workplace. And even though Justin Baldoni did everything under the sun he could to prevent any HR issues by having the intimacy coordinator and all of that, he probably should have done more. Even though, again, I'm not blaming him. He literally tried to do everything, and still, just the sound of his voice whispering in a voice note came off the wrong way and all these other issues. But there is a lot of ways to prevent any issues on set. There's Screen Actors Guild. I've been a member for 15 plus years, maybe actually close to 20 years now. They're like your lawyer. They're there to help you. They're there to solve any issues. If you have to complain because you didn't get long enough lunch break, or it's raining on set and they don't have a proper, dry area for you, or an umbrella, like very simple things. If you have an issue, you can call them. They have a SAG rep who shows up to set. And chances are, if you're Blake Lively, like an A-lister, they're going to have someone there either full-time or like you're on the short dial list. Plus, she's got her agent, her manager, her assistant, her husband. There's a lot of people there that can help if there is an issue. What we've noticed is that there's no screen grab, no receipt whatsoever of her having an issue in real time. I've said this before. If my wife was at work and the thermostat was set too high or too low, she's going to Goldilocks the hell out of me. It's too cold in here. It's drafty. It's hot. It's warm. There's flies. Like, you're going to know if someone's having a tough time on set.
Why it's a small production company, it's really just him and Jamie Heath and maybe some assistants. Like, where do you go? And I think taking that to, even in a normal setting, like, what do people do when they feel uncomfortable in a workplace setting? Like, what should happen?
I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head with HR or some sort of HR equivalent. Because like in a normal workplace, there should be somebody who, if something like this were to arise, the employees feel comfortable going to that person to raise these concerns and not thinking that this person is also like in the pocket of the boss, right? Because I think the other thing you said that's very salient is this guy had like 3 different kind of power dynamics rolled into one.
And it still wasn't enough to compete with Blake Lively's power dynamic, her Khaleesi's dragons. But still interesting stuff. And Fallout coming. Fallout, boys. Fallout. We're going down, baby. Fallout coming from the Justin Baldoni video that Nick Viall made. I got a text from somebody. I got hundreds of messages. Dave, I almost ripped my hairs out today listening to your podcast presenting Nick Viall's take on Blake versus Baldoni. Ugh, it's so frustrating. I sent him a message. Yeah, there were lots of strongly worded letters. People copy and pasted letters that they sent to him. He's not going to read them. Look, part of the funniness of Nick Viall is that he has this thing like where he doesn't want to hear anything from anybody because he gets a lot of like hate, and that's fine and all, but you need to have better producers helping you navigate the truth and finding the truth. Trust me, like if I get something wrong, I hear it from people. I was like defending Billy from Firefest, and a lot of people were like, dude, he like ripped off a lot of people. And you're like, oh, okay, let me look into that. You don't know everything. But the thing with Nick is that he took victory laps after victory laps over misinformation. And it's hilarious. It's hilarious to me that someone could fall so far up the ladder of success. Like, he's really successful. And I don't know if his audience doesn't care, but if you look at the comment sections on that video, they sure do. I'll just say this, hit the subscribe button if you value the fact that we're trying to get it right, because I don't think he's trying to do anything. All right, let's move it on. Sean Kingston is asking for a pardon. Soulja Boy, Jack Doherty in Safari seek presidential pardon for singer and his mom. As you guys know, Sean Kingston and his mom, Janice Turner, multiple years in prison time looming. But they were like defrauding people over like electronics. It was very bizarre. And so they claim, no, they're great people. They're fine. And it's like, listen, I don't know. I think we should take away the pardon power from the president. I mean, I think I should have the pardon power because, free Tiger King. I mean, if you're going to, it should be like a hostage exchange. Like, if you're going to free Soulja Boy, can we get Tiger King out just so we can get a new season of Netflix? Carol Baskin murdered her husband, allegedly. We don't know. What do we know? All right, let's move it on. We shared earlier this sad story about the Mark Sanchez in the NFL and in the terrible, brutal stabbing that he was the stab victim, but he allegedly went off on this guy. So many mental health issues. There was a NFL football player this week who tragically took their own life at the age of 24 on the Cowboys. I didn't cover that story. But there's you're learning so much. Aaron Hernandez was on the Patriots, and he murdered somebody, and then I think ended up killing himself in prison, if I remember that correctly. And then afterwards, they learned he had chronic CTE, which is just like brain damage after brain damage from all these hits they take. Antonio Brown in custody for attempted murder. Also, briefly on the Patriots, they released him real quick. And then, he played for Tom Brady, and then he went crazy afterwards. He quit one game and just walked off the field in his uniform. I think when he was on the Dolphins, the guy's all over the place. And a lot of people think that it all stems from a really bad hit that he took once. And that's the truth is that, and again, I watch football every week. I don't have a solution. I love watching football. Now that my Patriots don't suck again. Go Pats, kid. Boy, nothing is more annoying than a Boston sports fan when the team starts winning again. We literally come out of the drains like, let's go, kid. But anyhow, yeah, you shouldn't kill people, but at the same time, there's something wrong with him. Something's wrong on the inside with him. We overlook the issues and then we just go send him to jail. When in fact we should really do a better job studying the brain damage. But my fear is that football, being the most popular and most profitable sport in our country, my fear is that if they do that proper research, they're going to learn that we're sacrificing a lot of bodies, gladiator style, for the happiness of fans on Sunday. I hate to be a bummer about it. Let's do this. I'm going to come back and share with you guys the wild information coming out of Blake Lively. We've got Heath, the response from Justin Baldoni's side following her demand to see his water birth videos. Stick around for this. Today's episode is sponsored by Veracity, an all-natural way to slim down, get energized, and sharpen your focus. Veracity is tackling the root cause of so many issues, metabolism. With Veracity's drug-free, clinically proven, and doctor-formulated solutions, you can support your body's needs to live your healthiest life. Try Metabolism Ignite, the #1 doctor-recommended GLP-1 booster and GLP-1 alternative. No side effects or allergens. Metabolism Ignite is a natural, safe, plant-based aid that results in an 85% reduction in hunger and is clinically proven to lose, on average, 9 pounds in 90 days. So what's in Veracity? It's a unique blend of lemon, verbena, and hibiscus extracts, green coffee bean extract, and magnesium. Veracity is safe to take along with GLP-1 medications to aid in boosting your metabolism and appetite control. Head to veracityselfcare.com and use code RUSHHOUR for up to 45% off your order. Once again, that's veracityselfcare.com for up to 40% off, and make sure you use my promo code RUSHHOUR so they know I sent you. Veracity doesn't just offer a quick fix for fatigue or weight gain. The products actually help you maintain a healthier lifestyle. It's the best kind of self-care. One of the accusations that Blake Lively originally made about Justin Baldoni is that they sent her nude videos on set. Like it was one of those boys club locker room things, and they were just doing all of this kind of jock-like frat behavior. Well, it's obviously not lived up to the claims she's made, as we've learned that the videos she referenced were actually water birth videos from one of the members of the Wayfarer team. Of course, the water birth video was shown to Blake during a birthing scene, right? So it wasn't like they were like, hey, check out this video of my wife delivering my child. They were saying, here's an emotional scene we would like to recreate. But even with that said, Blake has now responded to them sharing the video with the court, saying, no, that's not the video they sent me. There's more. I demand they send me the full thing. And they're saying, we sent you what we showed you. That's it. You don't get to fish around. I'm going to share some of the strongly worded response from Justin Baldoni's team, Wayfarer Studios, to the judge. Dear Judge, plaintiff asked the court to impose draconian sanctions against defendant Jamie Heath, pursuant to federal rule of civil procedure. Yeah, essentially Blake's saying she wants them to be punished for not sharing with her more of the nude pregnancy videos. Specifically, Lively seeks an order compelling Mr. Heath to produce all video footage depicting the birth video and precluding Mr. Heath from offering any evidence, including written or oral testimony, on the topic of his showing the birth video or any other portion thereof to Miss Lively. Lively does not come close to meeting this rule requirements for the severe sanctions she seeks. The two flaws fatal to Lively's motion are that she never requested this footage in discovery prior to the discovery cutoff, and there is no clear, unambiguous court order compelling production of the full birthing videos. The order directed the production only of the video requested in Lively's request for documents. It then goes on, complaint that Lively falsely, your allegations in paragraph 101 of the Wayfair complaint that Lively falsely suggested that she was shown pornography or naked images of Heath's wife on set. Paragraph 101 in turn states that what Lively saw was the first image at the start of the video, which shows Heath's wife, himself, and their baby after his wife gave birth at home, a natural birth or home birth, and that Lively falsely suggested she was shown pornography or naked images of Heath's wife on set. Naturally, a video including the newborn was taken after her birth. Lively's pleadings state that Heath started playing a video of a fully nude woman with her legs spread apart. This is not inconsistent with the post-delivery video shown to Lively. So what they're saying is, look, yes, yes, she was naked. Yes, it was a birthing video, but it's not the way she said it was, right? And they go on, share a few clips. Lively contends that she should be allowed to cull through highly intimate and personal footage to find the portions that match her narrative that she was shown the actual birth when, in fact, she was not. The intrusion into the highly sensitive moments of a woman's labor and birth cannot be justified merely on the claim that Lively may find what she claims she saw. In short, Lively fails to show that she is entitled to sensitive, private footage of Natasha Heath in labor and giving birth, particularly since Lively only requested the short video showing Heath, his wife, and their newborn immediately after the birth. Lively did not and does not seek clarity on the scope of the order, but as has become her unfortunate habit in this case, asks this court to jump right to the most severe sanctions available, an order precluding evidence relevant to Heath's defense against Lively's harassment claim. In fact, this is only one in a string of sanctions motions in which Lively, recognizing that discovery failed to yield evidence to support her claims, seeks an adverse inference or preclusion order that would relieve of her of having to prove her claims by eliminating evidence favorable to the defense. Yeah, she wants her cake and eats it too. Or what's the saying? You get the point. Nothing showed up in discovery. They've got nothing. She says, I want more videos. Give me more videos. The birthing videos have little, if any, relevance. Heath does not dispute that he showed Lively a post-delivery video showing his nude wife holding their newborn daughter. The question of precisely what she saw will not be resolved by production of all birthing videos. A jury will decide this issue based on the credibility of the witnesses, not whatever Lively may cherry-pick from multiple recordings. The only thing that Lively will accomplish is to intrude on a highly personal and intimate experience to the extreme distress of Natasha Heath. You know, it brings me back to this video that Nick Viall did where he claims Blake's the victim and all of the evidence came out. The victims here, other than Justin Baldoni and Steve Sarowitz and everything they've had to deal with, the victim's the wife, right? Natasha Heath. First of all, Natasha Heath probably didn't care, as her husband has said, she didn't care that he was sharing the video with Blake Lively of their birth. I'm sure she's proud of it, whatever. I don't think it's a big deal. You're proud of your body. You're proud of what you've made. It's a miracle, all of that. But now that it's being used, this intimate, happy moment, which was supposed to be used as a spiritual motivation for the art they were creating, now is being used by Blake Lively to twist the knife and say, see, you guys are pieces of shit. I don't think this sits right with anybody. I think it would be very hard when this video comes out, if they end up showing it, maybe blurred or whatever, in court. I think it would be very hard for a pool of jurors to look at a birthing video and see that with any intention other than as motivation for the scene. Blake Lively, and this is why I haven't booked my ticket to New York yet for March, although I will be there if this thing does go to trial. Hit the subscribe button. I don't think it's going to trial because I cannot imagine Blake Lively making it through a trial with all of this information. I just can't. But we're still here. We're still spending tens of millions of dollars, so we'll have to see. Now, if this does go to trial, we're going to have to see if there's any cameras. I don't think they're going to let cameras into the courthouse, but my plan is that I'll live stream during the day and that I'll stay in New York and then I'll go to the courthouse and do a live stream at the courthouse as things get let out. Not that we'll be able to do interviews with anybody, but I really just want to be there and follow this thing through. So again, hit the subscribe button. I told you get me to 100,000 subscribers. We'll be there. I'm going to hold up my end of that bargain. I'll I'll also be in New York early December for some stand-up shows. So go to rushhourwithdave.com if you would like to get some tickets to the show. Or, of course, you can always follow me in my Instagram, dneils. All right, coming up next, I've got some beef to get into. This is going to be fun. Candace Owens is beefing with another podcaster over how much money she makes and how much money Turning Point USA has made since the untimely death of Charlie Kirk. This story next.